We'll get to news breaking overnight right now. Police are investigating what caused a woman to hit a pedestrian in downtown Albuquerque, killing them. This happened just before midnight at the Greyhound bus station on 1st Street. Police say that vehicle was headed east on Silver when the driver hit several parked cars, jumped the curb, and then hit somebody on the sidewalk. At this point, they aren't releasing info on who was hit, but the driver, we know, was taken to the hospital for testing. Right now, police say it does not look like alcohol was involved. 1st Street back open to traffic this hour. We're staying on top of the latest developments, and we will update you on air and on the KRQE News app as soon as we learn more. Also new on this Thursday morning, the Albuquerque City Council has chosen a new person to lead the independent agency tasked with policing APD. At a meeting last night, councilors picked Edward Harness to be the executive director of the Citizens Police Oversight Agency. Harness has been a bankruptcy attorney and a mediator in Albuquerque, or I should say Milwaukee, for the last 14 years. Before that, he was a Milwaukee police officer in the 1990s. As the executive director, he'll independently investigate Albuquerque citizens' complaints about the police and shooting cases. His findings go to the Citizens Police Oversight Board, which makes suggestions to the chief. Harness says some of those suggestions will mirror policing changes around the country.
Policing is going through a paradigm shift at the moment, and I want to be at the forefront of that shift. I have a valuable voice to add to those changes that are coming to policing.
Harness will start in the coming months. He beat out 2 other candidates from Albuquerque for the position. In the meantime, the city says it's working with the Police Oversight Board to figure out whether it should influence department policy changes. We first told you on special assignment about a letter sent from the POB chairman, Leonard Waits, to the mayor and police chief. It claims APD is drafting policy changes for the federal monitor without the POB's public review, and they say that's a violation of the DOJ agreement, but the city disagrees.
There's nothing in either the settlement agreement or the Police Oversight Board ordinance that would require that these policies go to the POB before a certain stage in the process.
However, Council President Ray Garduno says that they created the board with the intention that it would review policies before any changes are submitted to the feds. The city says it'll work with the POB on the issue, but insists the city's doing nothing wrong. Meantime, the City Council has also approved a proposal that limits where food trucks can park. Under that ordinance by City Councilor Isaac Benton, food trucks have to park at least 100 feet from restaurants. In exchange, they'll be allowed to stay on private property longer than the law currently allows. Well, the New Mexico State Fair kicks off today, and if you're a regular fair goer, organizers say you'll barely recognize some of this year's attractions. News 13's Catherine Mazzone is live at Expo New Mexico with more. Is it a busy place there this morning, Catherine?
You know what? Not yet, Adam, but I'm sure that's about to change in just a few hours. You know, I'm told the biggest difference this year is Midway. That's where I'm standing now. Last year, the folks who provided carnival rides, their contract was up. So the State Fair sent out requests for proposals, and they say the ones who landed the job are the best, or one of the best, in the nation.
Hey, it just came from the New Jersey State Fair, so to come out here all the way to New Mexico bringing brand new rides that have never been seen before out here, and I mean thrill rides that'll take your breath away.
State Fair General Manager Dan Morning says not only have we never seen these rides before, but many of them are new. He says the owner of the company supplying the rides keeps a close eye on the operation, ensuring every tent and every apron is squeaky clean. Morning adds there are also shade tents this year. It might not seem like a huge deal, but just standing in the New Mexico heat, he says, can be very exhausting. He says landscaping is also a nice touch, and so are the trenches they've built into the ground. Those allow them to hide the cables and keep people from tripping. Morning says the attention to detail overall is going to make for a very different experience this year.
You're going to notice a complete different atmosphere, a complete different environment if you've been out here in the past. And the other thing, the lights, LED lights out here. This thing is going to look like the sun.
And it already kind of does. You can see them behind me here. Of course, these are not the only new attractions this year. Coming up in our next hour, we'll tell you, we'll actually speak with Mr. Morning and see what else we have in store this year. Back to you.
Sounds great, Catherine. Thanks. By the way, that, as we mentioned, the fair does kick off today. The gates open at 10. The Midway opens at 2. Admission is $2. Wristbands are $12. We have everything you need to know right now on the KRQE News app. Also happening now in California, residents are wrestling with record-breaking heat. Triple digits hit inland areas yesterday, with Los Angeles hitting 101. That's not the case in New Mexico, where the drought is actually easing up this morning. Kristen Curry is in with the latest outlook. Kristen?
That's right, Adam. Really, we're not doing so bad when it comes to the drought, especially compared to last year. Here's the current outlook right now. We still have a good portion of the state with the abnormally dry conditions, but the perfect thing about this is we have absolutely no extreme, exceptional, or severe drought. That's the higher criteria here. So we never want to see these darker colors on the map. When it comes to our current state, as right now, we still have 50% of the state with abnormally dry conditions. You could see most of that to the west. That's the yellow color right here. The beige is 12% of the state in a moderate drought, but we have 49% of New Mexico looking at no drought conditions. Compare that to last year, where we had 97% of the state looking at the abnormally dry conditions. So yes, we're getting better, but can we improve that heading into this week? I'll break down your full forecast here coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, live look meantime in Washington, D.C. this morning. Officials say the U.S. will accept more refugees looking to resettle. Secretary of State John Kerry reportedly told members of Congress about the plan privately. The secretary is said to be looking at increasing the quota from 70,000 to 75,000 next year. A fraction of those would be from Syria, where in the news lately refugees are fleeing a bloody civil war. New video this early hour shows a school bus that burst into flames on the side of a highway. It happened in Irvine, California. Nobody was injured, but investigators say this bus was carrying about 3 dozen water polo players when the fire began. The driver was able to pull over and evacuate all of the kids. Investigators still working this morning to figure out what exactly sparked the flames on board that bus. Pretty scary moments, I'm sure, for those on board, but they did get out okay. All right, Kristen, thank you. In just hours now, a jury resumes deliberations in the trial of the man accused of beating his 9-year-old stepson, Omari Varela, to death. Jury members spent nearly 5 hours discussing Stephen Casaus' charges yesterday. Prosecutors in court replayed video from December 2013, telling the jurors to get a good look at what they call stepfather Stephen Casaus' lack of concern for Omari as he's dying. Attorneys defending Casaus pointed to that same video, though, arguing his wife, Cynthia Varela Casaus, acted alone. Casaus claims he was in the bathroom doing drugs while she beat the boy to death.
The state has their killer. The state has the person who did this, but they want more.
The prosecution argued that Casaus is responsible for Omari's death by intentionally not getting medical help. It was Omari's mother, Cynthia, who called 911.
He didn't do anything to render aid to Omari as he lay there bleeding internally.
The most serious charge against Casaus is child abuse resulting in death. That would carry a mandatory life sentence. The jury goes back behind closed doors at 8:30. As soon as they reach a verdict, we're going to stream it live on the KRQE News app. An Albuquerque man who molested a young boy and then killed his father begins his 21-year sentence behind bars this morning. Edward Quintana gunned down Jason Estrada 2 years ago when Estrada confronted him about sexually abusing his 6-year-old son. In court, Estrada's family described their loss.
I love my brother so much, and I know he's here with us. And I know Edward could probably get phone calls from his wife and that and his kids, and we can't.
Quintana pled no contest to second-degree murder and criminal sexual contact of a minor. At the time of the murder, Quintana was working as a DEA informant. Estrada's family filed a $50 million lawsuit against the DEA, claiming the government failed to follow its own rules in screening and monitoring Quintana. Developing right now, a man is in critical condition after police say he was shot near Juan Tabo in Central. Albuquerque police say they got the call around 7:30. When officers got there last night, they couldn't find the victim, but they discovered that he had been taken to the hospital. Because of the extent of his injuries, that person was eventually taken to UNMH. There isn't much information on what exactly happened here, but police say they don't have suspect information or anyone in custody. The shooting is now under investigation. And this morning, we're waiting to hear more about a man who was arrested in the case of a deadly home invasion in Albuquerque. Police say 4 masked and armed men kicked down the door of a home near Gibson and Washington Monday night to hold up an accused heroin dealer. According to officers, that man grabbed a gun, started shooting, killing 2 of them. APD arrested a 3rd man, Eduardo Ramirez Lamas, who pretended to be a witness. The 4th robber took off but was found nearby after police say he shot and killed himself. It's unclear if the homeowner will face charges. 5:34, a new special committee will now investigate New Mexico Secretary of State Diana Duran. She faces a 64-count criminal indictment for allegedly burning through her campaign funds at local casinos. Democrat Gail Chasey of Albuquerque and Republican Zach Cook of Ruidoso will serve as co-chairs of that committee. Together, the committee will decide if they should move forward with the impeachment process, I should say, in the legislature. On to this, the 77th Annual New Mexico State Fair. A lot of new attractions there this year, and it all debuts today. Many people are getting ready for the doors to open in just a few hours now. News 13's Catherine Mazzone is live at the fairgrounds with a look at what you need to know. The lights are already on there, it looks like, Catherine.
They're already on, Adam. These folks are ready. And I tell you what, the biggest difference this year is going to be Midway. Obviously, they have a lot of new rides here, but that's not all. And I'm joined here with General Manager Dan Morning to talk about a little bit more. And you told me yesterday, Dan, diets out, indulgences in. What's new with food?
Oh, absolutely. Well, today we started off with the Unique Foods Contest. That's where all our vendors, our concessionaires, they have the major competition to see who's the best of the best. And I tell you, all the wicked stuff comes out, and you're right, man. This is no place for a diet. This is a place where you just got to let it go and come on out and have some great food out here at the New Mexico State Fair. So we're looking forward to it.
Absolutely. You also mentioned bacon. I know that's a key word for a lot of people. Tell me about the bacon.
Yeah, that seems to be the resounding theme. We're getting kind of that intel from people that a lot of stuff is going to be infused with bacon, wrapped in bacon, loved by bacon, and around bacon. So, I mean, if you love bacon, this is really something you want to do. But I tell you what, even outside of that, I mean, you want some fried alligator? We got it. No one else in town has that, but the State Fair has it. So come on out and come out and see some of the things that you don't normally ever see. So, you know, it's just an unbelievable bevy of just different types of foods and unique qualities. We love it.
Awesome. Well, we're really looking forward to it. And we'll also have some more on what we can expect at this year's State Fair coming up in our next hour. Back to you, Adam.
All right, that sounds good. Thanks, Catherine. Again, that fair kicks off today. The gates open at 10. The Midway opens at 2. Admission today is $2. Wristbands are $12. More information for you on the KRQE News app if you do plan to attend. 5:37 and happening now. State police in Arizona are hunting for a shooter who they're now calling a domestic terrorist. This comes after several shootings have been reported on I-10. Police say there have been 10 incidents in the last 10 days. Authorities say the victims all seem like random targets. A $20,000 reward is being offered this morning for information leading to an arrest. Also happening now, a pair of burglars steal thousands of dollars worth of items from a home in Texas, but they really didn't do a good job of covering their tracks. In fact, investigators say they left something that could lead to their arrest. Police say it all happened in a matter of minutes. They say the two men, here's the deal, they bought a sandwich from a Subway restaurant and used it to distract the homeowner's dog. They then broke into the home, stealing things like Michael Jordan shoes, electronics, an entire safe. But investigators say the thieves dropped a receipt for the sandwich that they gave to the dog. The receipt included credit card information and a timestamp for when it was purchased. So police hope to use surveillance video from the store to make an arrest here. Not very bright. Take a look at this split-second save caught on camera. Quick-thinking journalist pulled two deputies out of the way just as a car came barreling by. Well, you can see it on video here right in the center of your screen. One of the deputies chases the speeding Dodge Charger. It was going 100 miles per hour. The driver was arrested after it was discovered that the vehicle that he was driving was reported stolen. The journalist says these deputies and he are good friends. He doesn't see himself as a hero, but he definitely is being called one today for thinking quickly.